My trapping window is short. I just got back from NWTF, and my first turkey hunt's the first Saturday in March. We have a couple of weeks. So I beg and beg and beg Alan to come down, and man, we trap and trap. I think I love it more than anything else. Anyway, we found a new spot. I'm going to show him something. He's like, stop, put on the brakes, and there's a critter trail coming underneath the barbed wire fence because I had corn planted out there. And there may still be a little bit out in that stuff I didn't mow, so we about to drop one right here.
Awesome.
See if we can catch one.
Well, you can see this trail he's talking about. I mean, it's a distinct trail, and it's probably deer and coyote and everything else running under there. Pretty good spot. We don't want to pass that one up. And you know, that's one of the things when you're working along these fields and field edges and things like that, when you find those trails, I mean, you can see the distinct trail there. You got it going right under the fence, and there's another one that cuts off this way. So that trail is something you definitely want to be pursuing. And you can see how that trail goes all the way down and goes right into the woods over there. And that's a prime example. That's not all deer. And Cuz is going to put one in here.
Right here. Works for me.
Awesome. Yeah, he gets about, what do you get, about 3 days to trap?
No, I can do it for a couple of weeks, but I'm not going to do it unless I can check them every day.
Yeah.
And I may have a week during turkey season, you know, where I'm home for 7 days and I'm right back at it. What I'll do is I'll take this and put the bait up somewhere, and I'll leave the trap laying there not baited. And that way I can come back and bait it if I'm here for 5 days. And let me tell you something, it makes a big difference on, I don't care how big your farm is or small.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Once you take a nest raider out, he's not there to go after your brooding turkeys and quail and duck and everything else in the spring. But Cuz is going to get that one in, and we're going to go down and put some more. But you can see this trail going right across. It doesn't get much better than that. Very distinct, meanders out through there into that adjacent patch, and I wouldn't be surprised he has one here tomorrow. I bet you got one here tomorrow, buddy.
Well, the deal is, before I met Alan, it would take me 20 minutes to do that. Laying some kind of vinyl down, not touching anything, rubber gloves. And I went with him, he was like, tink, tink, tink. He put out 15, and he's like, Cuz, they know you've been there, relax. Bait it up, move on to the next one. Best trapping advice I've gotten to this point.
Yeah, there a couple years ago or 3 years ago when I left or whatever, you guys, about every day you were sending me a coyote or a cat video. There's a good trail there. Yep, that trail right there. That's a good spot right there.
Yeah.
Tell me, you know, we came down here, I think the first time we trapped this was what, 2021?
Yeah, 4 years ago. 4 years ago.
And you weren't seeing any turkeys at the time.
And still not seeing a lot. This ain't a turkey area, but now during the fall, I'll catch them on the trail camera. And I was like, if I keep working and keep working, and if they ever find I'm trying to find out if they'll nest close by. But if I can get the habitat good enough where they can raise a brood here, mission accomplished.
And that's one of the things, you know, trapping's not a one-all fix. Habitat's not a one-all fix. They all kind of work in conjunction under that North American model of conservation. Trapping's a big part of that, where if you take the nest raiders out and you do enhance your habitat a little bit, it gives you a chance to have more turkeys.
Here's the deal. It's great. And I've said it before, it's no different than food plots or a control burn. It's part of what you need to do. And you don't have to own a big farm. You can do it on your hunt club or whatever. What it did for me, it gave me a whole nother time to spend time with them grandkids.
Yep.
And they fell in love with it. It's very addictive. Sometimes, I don't know what the regulations are in every state, but in Mississippi on private land, you can trap anytime. but that early spring up and right after turkey season when the weather's so nice, it keeps them outside, it keeps them off their phones, and they get addicted to it. So it's almost perfect as far as I'm concerned. If your goal is to have some property and bring your family in and get everybody involved, there's no better thing.
No better thing. Yeah, in my memory bank with my father, about 80 to 85% of them is memories out in the field catching critters.
Yeah, and you know, I just did the NWTF show, 3rd year in a row, and they give you 2 hours.
Yeah.
First one was the campfire, and then there's room for everybody. And I did one this year called the Secret Sauce, and people's like, "Where do you get all them stories?" Out here.
Out here.
You know, and it's it's just, as Ted says, they ain't doing this in France, and it's perfect.
Yep.
So I'm gonna set one right there.
You can have it. Cause I don't think it gets any better sign-wise when you're putting on the trail and you got some corn cobs that the critters ran over with.
The only reason I plant that corn is so me and you can go trapping.
I like
before
it.
Turkey season.
I like it.
I'm pretty sure we'll catch one right
I think you're on a good spot. You can see how that trail basically just comes out of there, and you can see how it goes the whole way across. How they got it beat down. It doesn't get much more. It doesn't get much more distinct than that, buddy.
Love it.
Got your coon buster. Throw some magnet on and come back here tomorrow and have one staring at us.
That's the plan.
Have one staring at us. Nice.
Doesn't take much of that. You got to watch Cranky. He'll drink that.
We'll have some critters tomorrow.
That's right. We've never put out that many coon traps, but we trapped a little bit last year. You were tied up. The weather was crazy, so it was kind of like we missed a year. So we're going all out, saving them poults.
Save the poult.
Turkey hunters, nesting season's almost here, and the brooding hens need your help. Grab our nesting bundle, which includes 4 dog-proof raccoon traps, stakes, stake driver, S-hook attachments, setting tool, plus our coon buster bait and magnet trailing scent. Everything needed to help against those nest-raiding predators. Regularly $121, now just $98 will get you started. Get your own nesting bundle. Order now at NorthAmericanTrapper.com. North American Trapper, proven products equals proven conservation.
A deer feeder out here is empty now, but it just went empty. And I told you the water just went down. This area floods, but had hundreds of coon pictures. If I put one right here, a DP, would you hammer a stake in the ground because it's such loose dirt, or you got a good tree right here? Are you gonna sanction it off with one of those cables?
This tree would work great. Just put a cable extension around it. With that, the one thing that you have to watch out for when you're doing raccoon trapping, especially with the DPs, if the raccoons get a chance to get up, you don't want to have a stake in the ground because they'll pull the stake out of the ground. And the cable extension gives them free range of motion around the tree. Now, once in a while, if they're able to get up and you don't have them as good and as deep, they may be able to get some leverage and pull out, but that's the chance that I want to take when you're in this type of situation, as opposed to them getting up and pulling the stake out. So yeah, you definitely want to use the tree because this is spongy. I mean, this is, you said the water just went down here over the last couple of days. You want a stake for the biggest animal that you can catch in the area. If you're trapping, like, you know, if you want to go, I'm going to go ahead and catch some fox, but there's coyote in the area, you want to make sure that that stake's trapped. You know, that's down in there to where you're going to hold a coyote when it gets in. But
so what are you going to put right here? Would you put a cable?
We're going to put a couple.
Stake them in the ground?
I'd put a cable extension around this tree. That's what we would do. Since you don't have any corn in the feeder, I'm probably not going to sit here. I like the way the trails run along this little bank right here. You can see a trail that comes in here. You see a trail that comes in over here. So we'll put a couple here. We may catch some, but they're going to come back in here, working through here. And, you know, anybody out there that has these feeders, you can definitely set around the feeders, and you're going to catch those coons. But when you have a lot of coons, like 12, 15, 20 coons working the area, over the first couple of days, you'll get some coons, but those other ones wise up pretty quickly. That's why we recommend when you set off of the feeder a little bit, catch them coming in. They don't associate this with danger, and they'll keep working them trails. They'll just walk by their buddy over here. But if they get in here and they're feeding and they have him swinging around for 20 minutes and they recognize he's got a little bracelet, they kind of get smart pretty quick.
Good tip. Alan's got a great video that just went up on how to set a DP, and of course he's like 6'10", big hands, and he just squeezes them, which a lot of people do that. Well, I can't squeeze it. When we first started, I could do it, but I'd rather do it with these. I guess you call it a trap setter. It's just a perfect tool for that, and that's kind of what I have to use, and I don't mind using it at all. It makes it real easy for an older guy. That's it. I live by the mantra, keep it simple, stupid. If it's simpler to do it with that, just do it with that. Put your ego back in the blazer over there in your truck, let it go. And it makes it easier for me. At this point in time, I don't have nothing to prove. So I don't mind using the trap setter. Kind of works for me. All right, I got a feeling this ain't gonna be our last one. Love being on the trap line. Let's roll.
Well, there's one, cuz. Right on that that little trail coming up through there.
Like the burn rings.
The burn rings are fun.
I like the burn rings. That's a big deal.
When you're coming down through the little trail and you see the circle.
But you know, here's the deal. We started this with you 5 years ago, teaching us what we didn't know and all that kind of stuff. And we've been pretty relentless. In those first couple of years, it was like 36, 29, because we only do it for a week or 10 days. And now we're just catching a few every once in a while. But you made a point. Hey, y'all been hammering them next
hammering. You've been keeping them under control.
Yeah.
I don't know. This raccoon right here, I think, is probably 14 or 15 nest raiders in the last 4 days
15.
or so. 15. So that's our 15th.
With 15 traps.
With about 15, 16 traps.
Not counting the canine stuff.
Yep.
We have 15 DPs out and have caught 15 coons.
And that's pretty good. That's pretty awesome. Well, that's one more out of the equation. And that'll release some of that pressure off of your ground nesting birds this spring. We were just talking about the turkeys over here in this field down here.
Well, they come through here from time to time, but if they ever stop, they're gonna find them a little sanctuary over here without getting their eggs eaten all to pieces. So
that's right.
That's pretty special.
Awesome. Well, Cuz is getting loaded up. He's gonna take care of this one, and you can see it's a good, healthy coon. Very nice. Just get your traps in the trails. You can see that trail that goes down through there, and that's all you need to do. The brand is so much bigger than myself or anybody involved with what we're doing. It's the tradition of, you know, it's that woodsmanship that these kids and even adults can learn just by being out there. That's what we're trying to do. Trying to get people involved, trying to get people to feel that. And every time you go out there with them, you're experiencing that outdoors through them. You know, we're showing the simplicity of things, and we're trying to debunk a lot of those myths that maybe scares people away from doing it at times, thinking that, oh, it's just too hard, there's too much into it. No, it's pretty easy. And we're going to show you how easy it is, and you're going to be able to go out and do it.
Get started trapping those problem animals and nest raiders today. Become the steward of your own land or lease. Visit NorthAmericanTrapper.com.